Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about my favorite pens. I'm going to first show you all of the pens and talk about them a little bit and explain why they're my favorite, and then at the end of the video I will show a writing sample / pen test, and I'm going to speed through that because it takes a while for me to write. So my favorite felt tip pens to use are probably the Sharpie pens. They're the most easily accessible. You can get them at Target, Walmart, anywhere. And they come in a variety of colors. I also have a really pretty pastel color set, but I left those in San Diego. I really like these to use in my planner, for note-taking, whatever. I feel that my handwriting looks the best with them. They have a really fine point. So I like the Sharpie pens a lot. I like the Staedtlers. These are pretty popular. They also come in a variety of colors. Here's a multicolor set here. Again, the point is really fine and it writes well on glossy stickers as well as matte stickers, and so do the Sharpie pens, but I find that the Staedtlers dry faster. Oh, I also have this Sharpie pen that my planner buddy gave me. This is just a different casing but same pen. I also really like the Lepen pens. These are also some of my favorites. I'd say they're right on par with the Sharpie pens, but the Sharpie pens are more easily accessible, so that's why I use them more. These are harder to get your hands on. I got mine all on jetpens.com. So these also come in a bunch of different colors. I just have my favorite colors here. These also have a really fine tip. Again, they work well on glossy and matte stickers. I'm going to show you the differences in the tip for each of the pens really quickly. So here are the three tips. I just wrote on myself. These are the three tips right next to each other. As you can see, they're pretty similar. So I really like all three of those. They're probably my favorite pens to use, and I use them a lot in my planners. I also really like gel tip pens. My favorites are definitely the Pilot hi-tec-c's. These are usually what they look like. This one's cracked because I stole it from my sister and it's really old. Here's a brand new black one. They work so well. They come in different tip sizes. My favorite is the 0.4mm tip. I shouldn't use my hand. My hand is like so ugly. I'm just gonna use a grid paper from So Much Crafting as a background. So this is what the tip looks like. It's a really fine gel tip. So those are the hi-tec-c's. It also comes in a Coletto form. So this one is just a gold one that I have. I also have a really nice matte black one. These come in a variety of colors. And these are really nice because you can put 4 colors in it or more if you get a bigger barrel. And you can customize your own colors. And it's really easy to switch from color to color. I love this one for taking notes in class because I like to use different colors in my notes because visually it's easier for me to go back and see what's going on. So I love this Coletto for note taking. And the hi-tec-c ink is also my favorite to use in my PenGems. So as you can see, it's the same tip as the hi-tec-c's that I just showed you. Definitely my favorite. You can get these on the PenGems website. I put them in all of my PenGems. Well, not all because I don't want them to die, but like I said, I love my PenGems. This is how I store it in this pretty Planner Girl cup that I got, Planner Nerd cup that I got from my newest addiction. So I just switch out the inks once in a while in the different colored barrels. Right now I'm using the charcoal one. And this is probably the prettiest pen that I have in this video. So I love that the PenGems have the hi-tec-c refills. Because before I loved the look of them, but I was like, I don't use ballpoint. Normally that's what they come in. So I'm really happy that the PenGems has the hi-tec-c refills. And these also work on glossy stickers, which I just discovered. But they do take a while to dry, so I would be careful for that. I also really like the Papermate Inkjoy gel pens. I'm sure this comes as no surprise to you guys. Where's my black one? I think it's on the side somewhere. I really like these. I like the 0.5mm tip. I prefer finer tipped pens in general. These write so smoothly. They're super vibrant. I like these for taking notes when I'm not in class because in class I'm always in a hurry, so the Coletto works much better. But if I'm watching a podcast and I can pause the video, then I'll use these pens because it's easier for me to switch them around. Like I said, I like using different colors in my notes. I didn't bring any of my notes back with me. They're in San Diego, so unfortunately I can't show you what my notes look like, but these work really nicely, and because of the bolder tip, they are more vibrant and they're easier to review when you go back to look at them. So I really like these. This is a Pilot G2 in the fancy barrel. I have the navy one that I got from jetpens.com in here. Not a huge fan of the other G2s. I prefer the InkJoys, but I like the navy one a lot. I'm sure you've seen me use it in a couple of Plan With Me's. I have some erasable gel pens that I'd like to mention. These are the Pilot Frictions. They're erasable. I never use these in my planner or for taking notes for school because if you leave them in heat, say you leave it in your car on a hot day, the ink will disappear, and I don't know. They say if you put it in the refrigerator or something or somewhere cold, it'll come back, but I don't want to risk it. But I do use them for making lists. For example, I have a packing list. I use these for my academic planner where I need to change things around because that one I'm not so concerned if the ink disappears. But anyway, that's where my black InkJoy went. But I have a couple of different ones. This is the black ink, which writes more like a gray, you'll see. And this is in 0.5 millimeters. I have the navy one that writes in 0.7 millimeters. I love this one. And then I have two skinny ones. These are the Friction Ball Slims. These are 0.38 millimeters. They're really thin. And I like these because I can write super tiny with these, and it's fine. I can fit in small spaces. Oh, what I really like these for, for some of my classes, I can make cheat sheets for my finals or midterms, and usually it's like 1 page handwritten. So I really like using these for that because they're erasable, so I can, if I make a mistake, then I can erase it, but at the same time, it's much clearer than using a pencil, and also sometimes the pencil lead smudges. So I really like these for that, making cheat sheets. And because they're so fine, the tip, I can write a lot more in my cheat sheet and it's a lot more legible. And then the last one I have is this fancy one. This is a copper one, not real copper, but just like a copper colored one. I got it on Amazon. If I can find the link, I'll leave it down below. This one has a 0.5 millimeter black ink, or was it 0.4 millimeter? I can't remember. It's more heavyweight than the other ones, so it feels a lot nicer to write with. So those are my favorite erasable gel pens. Next, I have white gel pens. These are my two favorite white gel pens. These are probably the most popular ones. You've probably heard of them or seen them at some point. The first one is the Uniball Signo in 1 millimeter tip. This one is probably the most popular one to use on darker stickers because it works on vinyl, glossy, and matte. Although on vinyl and glossy you do have to wait for it to dry for a little bit. It's kind of like a paint-like texture, so that one is nice. And then the other one that I have is the Jelly Roll, which is good for using on black inserts. I really like it. This one writes more like a gel pen. This one writes a lot like paint ink, and it's harder to write with, I find, because I have a heavy hand. Because the tip is so broad, it kind of like makes a streak in the middle whenever I write with it, so I have to use a light hand to write with the Uniball. But these are the two white gel pens I have. The tips are a lot broader than the ones that I showed previously. So those are my favorite white gel pens. Next, I have permanent markers. So I have two favorites for permanent markers. The first one is probably the most popular one. This is the Sharpie permanent marker in ultra fine. You can get these pretty much anywhere. The tip is very similar to that of a Sharpie pen, but it writes on glossy and vinyl stickers. And then my other favorite is the Lepen permanent marker. This is the one in the finest tip. They also have these in different sizes. I really like this one a lot. I got it at a stationery store here where I live, but you can get this on jetpens.com, I believe. So I'll have jetpens.com linked down below. But as you can see, the tip is super fine, much like the Sharpie Ultra Fine, if not finer. So I really, really like this one a lot. So that's really all I have for my favorite pens. These are the pens that I use the most. I don't really reach for any other pen besides these ones, except for once in a while when I want to just use another pen for fun. So that's about it for my favorite pens. I know it looks like I have a lot. I'm not going to test every single one of these on the writing sample. I'm just going to do a black ink and then maybe a blue or a fun colored ink if I have it. Please let me know what your favorite pens are in the comments below, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Bye.